Hello, this is Merlin Knight. I'm just doing an update video for my Malware Detected project. Okay, so in the last video, it was a very basic movement system. So I've got a character, um, and the camera stays still as your character moves around a small area. But as soon as your character moves to the edge of the screen, camera will start to follow it. You also see that it's got some basic animations where the character has legs at the bottom of it that change direction based on where you're moving to. You'll also see once I stop moving, camera snaps back up onto the center, and then I can move around again without it following until I start getting to the edge, and then the character follows again. You'll also see that the top part of the character is always facing where the mouse is. This is used for the weapons, which I'll show you in a minute. There you go. And then also there was a shift where if I press shift, I can just go a bit faster. My idea to have this in the game would be that it's on a cooldown, so you can only really like shift for maybe like a second before it runs out, and that you couldn't be able to shoot anything while you're shifting. It would just turn off all the weapons. Okay, so what I wanted to show you was my progress, and the main thing that I've been working on is the weapon system. So I've been implementing different weapon components that I can use for damaging characters and the enemies. And I also wanted to give a spin, so rather than just having the weapons on the character that the player, shoot, and you point where you want to shoot with the mouse, I also wanted to add like a tower defense kind of situation, or in Bullet Heavens, you get a lot of them where it'll be auto-firing weapons, so for example, Deep Rock um, Galactic Survivors, you don't actually aim the weapons at all, you just have the weapons on your character and they automatically just target onto enemies. I wanted something similar like that for the Bullet Heaven aspect of the game. So I've added not just a point and click where you want to shoot mode, but also a turret mode, which I'll show off later. The first weapon I want to show off is the just basic blaster. So if you see, if I left click, it fires off a shot. This is just a projectile that destroys itself after a certain amount of time. And then if I hold down, you'll see it's like rapid fire, and you can see it's going to where my mouse is aiming at where my mouse is. As you can see, I've got some dummies around me, and when I shoot them, you'll see it will destroy the bullet, and it'll play a little animation saying that it's been shot. There you go. So what I wanted to do is add something a bit different for this weapon. So rather than it just being a basic shoot blaster type weapon, I also wanted to add a separate functionality for like a piercing shot, like a charge, like a railgun, like build up and charge and shoot. So what I've done is on the right click, so not the left click. If you hold down the right click, so I'm now holding down the right click, when I let go, it'll fire a bigger out blaster, and you'll see it also has knockback on my character. So if I let go now, there you go, you saw a really big bullet come out, and I kind of had a bit of a knockback there. There you go. So if I just spam right click, you'll see the knockback a bit better. But the idea is the longer you hold down right click, the more charge it has, and then when you let go, it fires out a big bullet. There you go. So the longer I hold down right click, the bigger the bullet. So if I just spam right click, you'll see it's still giving me knockback because it's a more charged up thing. One thing you'll also see is when I shoot with the left click, the basic fire, the bullet gets destroyed when it hits an enemy. With the right click, it has piercing. So it will still damage the enemy. You can see the enemy is still doing the animation, but it will keep going. So what I can do is I can line up two enemies here, and if I fire the right click, you'll see they both get hit by it. There you go, and it just keeps going. So it has penetration as well. So you'll have your main left click fire for just spamming. Maybe there's a targeted enemy you want to just get down quick. And then if you've got more space around you and you want to target an enemy or big group, you've got your right click you can hold down and it will just do a big charge shot. Yep. Okay, cool. So now you know the two features of the just primary laser fire weapon. I'm going to show you the auto turret mode. So if I press 1 on my keyboard, you'll see it will start targeting the enemy. And right now it's just set to closest enemy. So if I get close to this enemy, you'll see it'll start shooting them, and then this one, it'll start shooting this enemy. And you see it just automatically locks on. It doesn't matter where the character's looking, it just automatically locks on. This is all done via state trees. use the code. Yep. And as you can see, if I get a certain distance away from the enemies, it'll stop shooting. So then when I get back in range, it'll start shooting again. So you have to be a certain distance from the enemies. And then if I press 1 again, you see that it just resets back to normal. So if I'm in this automatic shoot mode, if I, like right now I'm pressing left click, nothing happens. If pressing right click, nothing happens. So it is just the auto firing mode. So this will be useful in the future when it comes to the other weapons. So you can choose which weapons you want just on auto and which weapons you want to actually manually have to click and aim and do. If I just press 1 again to stop this for a second. Something else I wanted to explain was in the future I've set the code up so I can not just have it be the closest enemy. I can have it set to target the enemy with the highest health or the enemy with the lowest health, as long as it's within a specific range of the player. So what I hope to have is features where if I basically I can set it up all my weapons, so I want maybe my laser firing at the highest health enemy and my other weapon doing at the lowest health enemy, and then maybe just one that's just focused on whoever's closest to me, just to get them out the way so I don't die, you know? Okay, now you've seen the first weapon. I want to move on to the second weapon. So if I just press the buttons, activate it. Right now, the second weapon is a flamethrower. So when I just hold down left click, you'll see it fires out a bunch of projectiles that go out in a cone shape. They slowly change color over time to simulate fire. There you go. If right now there isn't a right click set up for this weapon, it's just the laser gun that has a right click variant. So this is just the flamethrower at the moment. Fires out the front. And then if I go over an enemy, you'll see they're getting damaged by the flame. There you go. Quite simple. One thing I'd also like to say is all these weapons I have planned for them to be upgradable. So for example with the laser, I want maybe you can upgrade fire rate, you can upgrade damage, you can even add the amount of penetration you want. So right now the right click shot just has infinite penetration, but maybe there could be an upgrade where the left click you can add penetration, so it just goes through one enemy at a time, stuff like that. And then same for the flamethrower. Oops, sorry, press the wrong button. Same for the flamethrower. I could increase the range or increase the cone spread or the amount of damage. So things like this, just to keep upgrading over time. Okay, so you've seen the flamethrower. Now you can also see if I press 2, it activates the auto lock on. So you see the closest enemy I'm at, it's just going to flamethrower them. And then if I get out of range, it stops, move back into range, start shooting them again. Yep, there you go. So that's the flamethrower. And you can also see if I'm looking at a different location. Oh, what I can show you actually is, see, I've got my flamethrower on, and I can still shoot the laser in the other direction. And I can right click. Oh, well, I still got my flamethrower targeting the closest enemy. I can still focus on what I want to do and aim at enemies that I care more about, and just leave the flamethrower to do what it's doing. Right, turn those both off. Okay. Now, let me show the next weapon, which is a lightning weapon, like a Tesla coil almost. So if I left click with this weapon activated, you see lightning comes down from above, and it strikes the ground. And then, if you see if I hit an enemy, it gets damaged, and then there's a chain effect. So chain lightning goes to whichever enemy is next closest to that enemy, and you see it keeps going. And I can change this the amount it chains by. So if I wanted to, I could have it just infinitely chaining. But at the moment, it's just set to 2 chains. So it hits the first enemy, change to a second, change to a third. So there you go. So yeah, that's one of the upgrades I was talking about. You could upgrade the weapon so it has more chains when you hit a target. And this is, you can see it doesn't really have a range. Just clicking anywhere on the screen, it fires down a lightning, and if it hits an enemy, it'll do chain damage. There you go. This also has an auto mode, so if I press 3, you'll see it just does the chain damage. So it chains from the player this time rather than from the first enemy hit. And it does the 2 chains, so you see it just it's locking onto the closest enemy at the moment. There you go. Doing chain damage. And then, of course, if I wanted to, I could then be shooting one guy over here while it's chain lightning over there. Or vice versa, so I could have the auto thing on while I'm shooting over here and he's chaining over there. You get me? Yep, there you go. So I think the lightning would be one that would be good for targeting like the highest health enemy, because it would just chain out and it would get all of people around them. The chaining does have a range, so if there isn't a range to chain to the next enemy, it just won't chain. Like if there's an enemy off on its own, it won't fire the chain off. Yep. So that's the lightning, and then the last weapon is a gravity weapon. So if I still got the lightning on. There you go. So if I fire it out, you see it has this big ball that's floating around that fires off from the player. There you go. What this does is it's like a gravity sphere, and it will suck in the enemy. So if I choose, which one should I choose? Let's choose this guy over here. If I shoot the ball at him, you'll see he's slowly getting pulled away. I can just keep shooting him. Ooh, he's already getting pulled away this time. There you go. It's kind of like a gravity sphere to just pull enemies away, basically. And then after time, it will destroy itself. There you go. Off he goes. Yeah, so it's like a gravity ball. Let's go back to the Citadel. And as like all the other weapons, it has an automatic mode. Now, this automatic mode is a bit different. Rather than just locking onto an enemy and firing out the gravity ball, it has like a gravity wave effect. So if I press the button in 3, 2, 1, there you go. You'll see a gravity wave that goes out from the player. This goes off every 10 seconds at the moment, but of course it could be upgradable for like it could go off more often. But it's kind of just a way to like push away enemies. So I could have this on auto, while also having my my other weapons on primary, just like keeping enemies away from me while shooting them back, like this. Just keeping them away, pushing them away, while I've got my other weapons all doing stuff. So if I turn on all my other weapons at the moment, there you go. So you can see I'm really firing out a lot here. I've got flamethrower, I've got the laser weapon, I got the lightning. They're all going off, and then I can change which ones I want on automatic. So here I've got the flamethrower just on automatic while I'm shooting the stuff over here. This flamethrower is dealing with that, and then I've got my gravity wave still going out, pushing people away. Yeah, there's quite a lot. Let me just turn these off and just go back to the gravity wave for a sec. So yeah, so the gravity wave's got the actual wave, and then it's also got, if you're actually aiming and shooting, it's got the ball that just kind of sucks enemies away. The targeted aiming and shooting one version. So yeah, so I've added 4 weapon types, which I think have a good variety and the different uses that they could have. Next, what I want to do is try and get some enemies in, and I want to get the actual damage system set up. So right now, the damage system, it does actually damage. It knows that it's damaging the enemy, but it isn't actually doing any damage. If you get what I mean, like it's playing the animation of, oh, I've been damaged, I need to play the damage animation, but it isn't actually, doing anything to the enemy. So I need to set that up. I want to add some more enemies. I want to work on some enemy AI. And then once I've done that, I can start planning out how I want the game modes to play, how I want the weapon upgrades to go. I think I've got good progress so far. I'm happy with what I have. I'm always looking for feedback though. So anything you think I could work on, would love to hear it. Anything you think that would be different, love to hear it. Yeah, that's progress so far.